Hey everybody, today we're going to be talking about why you need to start text marketing today for your business. So just quick 15 seconds about me. I spent 10 years as a banker raising money all over the world for small businesses. I've spent 12 years as an entrepreneur. I've got a background in doing online publishing, selling SaaS products, physical products, doing online sales, running Facebook ads, Google ads, and even email marketing, and most importantly, text message marketing. That's what we're going to be talking about here today. So the company I'm with is Betwext.com. We were founded in 2010 and we've been focused on text message marketing for small businesses for years. We have thousands of users and every single month we send over 5 million messages. So just some really interesting information to share with you today. What we're going to be talking about is why texting, ideas on how to use texting for your business, and how to design a campaign in 10 minutes. We're going to make it lickety split. So here we go. We're going to jump in. First off, if you want these slides, don't take notes. Focus on my voice. Listen to what I'm telling you. I want you to pull out your phone and I want you to text the word learn to 480 508 9444. That's 480-508-9444. Text the word learn to me, and what I'll do is I will text you back a link with all the slides. So you get all the notes, you'll have all the information. It's easy to do. So, why should you be using texting? It's some simple numbers. First off, there's 230 million cell phones in the United States alone, and recent studies have shown that cell phone users look at their smartphone on average 150 times a day. It breaks down to about every 7 minutes you pick up your phone and you look at it. And believe it or not, because of that frequency, over 90% of all text messages that are sent are read within 3 minutes. So think about that for a minute. 90% of text messages are read in 3 minutes. Gives you some incredible power around texting. Now, texting also has a great advantage. You can text one-to-one or one-to-many. You can send out a mass text. You can blast out a text to tens or hundreds or thousands or tens of thousands or hundreds of thousands of users all at once. You can also individually text back and forth with a single customer. It is a very powerful medium as far as communication goes. Now, here's where texting versus email really shines. If you look at email, when you send an email, your average open rates might be 15 and at the high end 20%. So I want you to think about that. If you have a 20% open rate on your email, that means only 1 out of every 5 people you email actually sees your email. Whereas if you send a text message, over 90% of messages are read. So just once again, the power of texting versus email is clear. And if you want to compare texting to social media, I know a lot of people do that these days. The most recent data that I've been able to find online shows that when you send a tweet, less than 1% of your organic followers on Twitter will actually see your tweet. So think about that. You literally have to tweet 100 times to make sure your visitors are seeing, your guests, your followers are seeing your messages. And on Facebook, it's not really much better. It's only 5%. Once again, compare that to the 90% that you get with text message marketing. So it's an incredibly powerful platform. So who uses text marketing? Everyone does. I mean, entrepreneurs, speakers, influencers, restaurants, bars, nightclubs, coaches. I've seen nonprofits using it, schools, churches. I'm on hundreds of lists. And even the famed marketer Gary Vaynerchuk uses this. I've done a snapshot of his Instagram posts. He has texting. My favorite one is, look at this fourth one over to the right. He's got his hoodie with his texting number on it. Now, straight up, Gary is not a user of Betwext. He uses some other system. It wouldn't surprise me if he's built his own or is partnered with another company. He does not use Betwext, but that doesn't mean we can't learn from him. He's doing some amazing stuff, and as you can see, if you sign up, you'll be on his list. So some really interesting stuff there. I've been following around and taking pictures of different groups that have texting out there. I've seen it everywhere from golf clubs to furniture stores to restaurants to the airport. If I've found it at conferences. You can see in the upper right hand and left hand corner some of the conferences I've been at. Even Carlos Mencia, he is a comedian, world famous comedian. He uses text messaging to sell tickets to his own show. So there are tons of different ways you can do it. And the big question I always get is, well, that's great, but what do I text? And this is where I don't want you to be overwhelmed. You can literally text anything: blog links, news, inspirational messages, quotes, reminders. You can send out specials and coupons. You can ask your followers questions. You can send them video links. I mean, literally, the sky's the limit on how you can use texting. Basically, if you have a message that you want to communicate, you just need to shrink it down for texting. Now, this brings up a really good question also that I get all the time. What's the difference between an SMS message and an MMS message? So there's really three different types of messages out there. SMS is a short message. That's 160 characters, no longer. That's it. Text, you can include a couple of emojis. Those take up a handful of those character counts. An MMS message, which you'll see over on the right hand side, can actually be a picture. You can send MMS messages. Now, fair warning, our system's adopted for MMS. Some of our competitors are not, some are, but you want to be careful about sending too many picture messages just because the carriers tend to screen them out. They tend to be loaded with spam. There's a lot of people who are abusing MMS messaging, so you just want to be careful there. Now, the blend. What's between the two? Well, this is what I call a long SMS message. It's technically an MMS message, but it is up to 460 and even 600 characters. So you can create a really long message, and in the middle you'll see an example where clearly this person goes over 160 characters to convey a longer form message. I call that a long SMS message. It's a great technique for communicating with people. So if you're out looking for a provider, make sure that they can provide you with all three types of messaging services for text messaging. So, important is what to text, what not to text. There are spam blockers that are being used by carriers. A lot of people don't realize, but just like when you send out email, the email service providers will screen and scan messaging. The phone carriers do the same things. They're looking for things like bad links. They're looking for keywords that violate some of their terms of service. They're looking for illegal activity, people talking about sweepstakes, financial, unsolicited messages. They're looking for things like, the keyword social security, financial related fraud, things of that nature. So you just want to be really careful that you're not asking people to reply back with sensitive information. Remember, you just want to be smart about what you text so you don't get caught up in things. So there's a couple rules. Number one, get permission. Always get permission. Always have permission from the person you're about to send a text message to. They have to let you know that yes, you can text them. Number two, don't spam. Don't abuse the right to send someone a message. Do it. If you're going to send them information, send them good quality information. Number three is send the right information at the right time. You want to be careful. You don't want to tee up a message or send a message out at 2 in the morning and wake up your followers. It's just not a good practice. That being said, there are some nightclubs that we work with, and so they'll send out messages regularly at 9 and 10 o'clock at night. It's all about knowing who your audience is and when to message them. Obviously, that group of people you don't want to be sending 6 a.m. breakfast messages to. So just keep that in the back of your mind. Another good rule of texting is to make sure you segment your list. Really break it up into people that have different interactions with you, whether that's a VIP group of customers, a group of customers who maybe have bought a particular product or interested in a particular service, or maybe part of your texting list is your employee list. So you're going to text them obviously different information than you're going to text a customer, or you might send them a coupon. One more quick rule of texting: always, always, always use the word stop to end. It's just the easiest way for people to know that, hey, they'll text back the word stop and it'll cease the emails coming from you. Our system at Betwext is built up automatically so that if somebody replies back stop, we pull them off your list so you can't abuse them. You don't want to get in trouble. It's really good practice, and it's the law. The last thing is to monitor responses. I mean, sometimes people just won't reply back with the word stop. They'll say, please take me off your list, or hey, I don't want to hear from you anymore, things like that. So you just want to make sure that the responses that are coming in, you're watching them and you're taking appropriate action, whether that's taking them off the list, sending them different information, or helping them order a product. I mean, a lot of people will text you saying, hey, where can I buy this? Where can I go to get your product, get your service? How do I order? Those are things you definitely want to be all over. So I'm going to jump into some of this technical stuff. Bear with me. It's important that you know this just for when you're deciding what texting service out there to use. So the first thing is there's a bunch of different numbers you can get. You can get a short code. A short code is a 5 or 6 digit number that you can text to or from. Everybody's seen those. There's hundreds of them out there. The problem with short codes is they tend to be very expensive, usually on the order of several $1,000s a month to get a single short code. Now, there also used to be this thing called a shared short code. This is when a company would go out and they'd buy one short code number and they'd share it amongst all of their users. Part of the problem is this is going away. The carriers have refused to support this and sponsor this, so this is eventually going to be going out the door. They're going to stop delivering those messages. We actually had the ability to do shared short codes, and we shut it down once we heard that was happening. So if you have the ability to get a shared short code, or you're currently on a shared short code now, you're getting your warning. I'm telling you, eventually you're going to wake up one day and you're not going to be able to text anymore from that short code, and you're going to have to start all over from scratch. Don't make that mistake. Now we come to another type of number. It's called a long code. It's a 10 digit. It's just your phone number with an area code. That is what a lot of businesses are using to text from. It allows them to send messages. They can identify themselves via their area code so that people know that they're getting a call from within the area that they're in. It's a great way to communicate with people. And there's one final number you need to be aware of: 1-800 numbers. These are new, these relatively new types of numbers that the carriers are now allowing inbound and outbound texting to and from 1-800 numbers. They're intended for more high volume users or nationwide businesses. So if your business is operating nationwide, you might look at getting into one of these 1-800 numbers. Obviously, Betwext covers all of these. We're not offering shared short codes, but if you want a short code, we can get one for you. We offer long codes, and we also have the ability to get 1-800 numbers. So just keep that in mind when you're out looking for your texting service. So high volume senders. What's a high volume sender? Normally, you want to keep your messages to between 300 and 500 messages per send for every phone number you have. So if you want to send out 1,000, 2,000, 5,000, 10,000, 100,000 messages at a clip, you might want to look at going to 1-800 numbers or adding in multiple 10-digit long codes. We have the ability to do both. If you're a high volume sender sending anywhere between 20 to 50 to 100 to 400,000 messages a month or more, we have a couple million message people on our programs. We can work with you. Please reach out to our customer service and we can help you. But you just want to be aware, high volume, some companies can handle them, some can't. Now, technical stuff, keywords. I love keywords. It's a great way to segment people. It's a great way to communicate with people. What's a keyword? A keyword is the word you ask people to text you, so you're able to know why they're reaching out to you and what to segment and how to segment you. So if you remember in the beginning when I said, hey, text the word learn, learn is the keyword. So when you text the word learn to my phone number, what's going to happen is the system automatically identifies you as someone who needs to get these slides. So I've set up an autoresponder that'll go out to everyone who texts that in. You'll get a link, you'll get some information, you get a link to the slides. That's what a keyword is. Now, at Betwext, there are a couple keywords you can't ever use, like stop and help. Those are reserved for the systems. There's a few of them out there, but not to worry. At Betwext, when you have your own long code or 800 number or short code, you get any keyword you want. You can pick whatever one you want. You can have dozens of keywords if you want to segment people that way. We don't charge extra for keywords. Some of our competitors do. Just keep that in mind. Now, consider this. You want to get your own dedicated phone number, so you don't want to be sharing a phone number. You want to have the ability to use multi-number accounts. You want to be able to change your phone number, whether it's a local or an 800, or maybe if you're climbing the ladder and you want to send out and start using a short code. You also want to remember that keywords, the cost of getting keywords can dramatically change the value of a system you're using. You also want to make sure whatever service you're using has autoresponders and the ability to do a drip sequence. What's a drip sequence? It's very simply when you add somebody to a list, you send them message 1 on day 1 and message 2 on day 2 and message 3 on day 6. You can set up that drip. Some people call it an autoresponder sequence. We call it a drip sequence. It's a great way to schedule information out. And also you want to make sure that whatever program you use has text scheduling. That way you're not jumping into the system and having to send a message and then, rushing about. You'll be able to sit down, write out your plan for a month, get those out the door. So, Betwext has all of those. In addition, you need to be able to make sure that whatever service you utilize has the ability to segment customers into different lists. You want to be able to upload contacts if you're importing from another system. You want to have an online name capture tool, so a way to get a phone number and a name from your website. Maybe have a little opt-in form. The other thing is email and text notifications. If you want to be alerted to when a new message comes in, you want to, you got to set those things up. Those are all things that people forget about when they're looking at text marketing platforms. And it's critical that you think about those things and make sure whatever system you're using has those features. Betwext has them all. So, you also want to make sure you have the appropriate help on the back end. Do you have online support? Do you have training videos? Is pricing adequate? Do you get locked into a long-term contract? Or do you have month-to-month contracts that you can get out of at any time? I'll tell you, at Betwext, we do not have long-term contracts. You sign up, you use the system, and if you don't like it, you can cancel and go somewhere else. We don't lock you in. The other thing is, we think Betwext is the easiest system to use. So just some things to consider when you're out there looking for a text marketing system. Now, we've covered a lot about what to look for text marketing systems. Now I want to jump in and give you an example of how to do a text marketing strategy in just 10 minutes. That's right, 10 minutes. Start your clock. We're going to go really quick. It is really easy, but this is the way I do it. This is the way I teach a lot of people to do it. Step 1, customer questions. I want you to sit down and for a second, just think about what information or resources you're sharing with your customers on a repeated basis. What features are you always talking about? What kind of delivery details are you always giving out to your customers? What kind of how-to bits of information are you sharing with customers? What are those recurring questions that these customers ask you? I want you to sit down and spend a minute or two, write those down, because those are going to become critical. Then, step 2, I want you to pull out the calendar. I want you to identify holidays. I want you to look at important dates. Now, when I'm putting this together, we're in early February. I want you to look out what's happening in March. We have Super Tuesday on March 3rd. We have St. Patrick's Day on the 20th. On the 17th. On the 20th is the International Day of Happiness. Now, you might ask, well, some of those aren't real holidays. I said, no, they're not. But you know where I got them from? daysoftheyear.com. They literally have an event scheduled on every single day, and some of them have more than one. Here's just the ones from March that I pulled up. I mean, look, you have Banana Cream Pie Day on March 2nd. You have Barbie Day on March 9th. World Sleep Day on the 13th. St. Patrick's on the 17th. You have Puppy Day on March 23rd. The month of March, Social Work Month, Peanut Month, Women's History Month. There's dozens and dozens of things. Why is this important? This is going to give you ideas of why to reach out to people, give you something to talk about. So you pick a couple of those days. And then step number 3, I want you to think about your call to action. What are you trying to get people to do? Are you trying to get them to visit your store, visit your website? Are you selling a product or service that you want them to sign up for? Are you providing education? Do you want them to read particular articles? Do you want them to watch particular videos? Are you driving people to pick up the phone and call you? Are you looking for them to watch a video that you maybe made on YouTube or some other video platform? I just want you to keep that in the back of your mind. So you have the questions customers ask, the calendar and important dates that are coming up, and your action items, your calls to action that you're going to have. Now, step number 4, you're going to take the 3 of these things and you're going to mix them and match them. So for example, text number 1, I might send out a blog post that's educational. Hey, here's a link to go read about XYZ. Text number 2 might come out a couple days later, and that's highlighting, Super Tuesday and saying, hey, if you voted, we've got a special offer for you. And then text number 3, I might ask a question where the call to action is, hey, text me back. Ask me anything. What do you need to know about X? It's a great way to enable that back and forth communication and engage with your list. Text number 4 might be a news article. Let's say you read something great and you want to share it with the rest of your followers, the rest of your readers. You'll send them out that link. That's an educational link. And then you come to text number 5. This is where you're going to answer a customer question. Remember those questions that people asked all the time? Hey, what are your delivery hours? Or, hey, what are your store hours? Or, hey, where is your store located? How do I get there? Is there anything special they need to know? What do they need to know when they show up? Things like that. You might be able to link them to a video where you're answering the question, or a text message. You might just be able to answer the question right in the text. And then finally, you might pick a day and toss out a deal, a coupon. You don't always have to do this. Some people love to do coupons, other people don't, but it's always a good reason. So for example, you might celebrate St. Patrick's Day by shooting out a coupon. Now, if you notice, there are 6 texts here. I would normally schedule those out over 4 to 6 weeks. You don't want to really hammer people too much. You want to spread those out, maybe a text a week, a text every 4 to 6 days. So, you keep going with that mix and match. You have, text number 7, a link to an order page. Text number 8 is a case study and a link to a video or a link to a web page. Text 9, you're talking about International Happiness Day and you're going to send somebody a joke, right? Text number 10, you're going to feature customer question and link to a video where you're answering that. Text number 11, you're going to promote a blog post, something that you've written in the past you're going to link to. And then text number 12, you're going to talk about Jazz Appreciation Month, just to show people that you're a real person. So, there you go. Look at that. That's 12 text messages. And like I said, those are going to expand out over a certain number of weeks. You're definitely not going to send 12 messages in 6 days. You're going to want to spread those out. Try to target 1 a week is a good recommendation to start with. Now, step number 5, you're going to write this content. Okay, like I said, this is a 10-minute system. You're going to sit down, you're going to jam through these things. You're going to pick those questions, you're going to pick those dates, you're going to pick those calls to action, you're going to mix and match them, and then you're going to literally sit down and you're going to write that content. Here's the best part about texting. SMS messages are only 160 characters. So you want to keep your content short and sweet. You want to get to the point. A couple key notes. Always, always, always identify yourself. When I text people, I say, hey, it's Brian from Betwext, or Brian here at Betwext, right? Or I say, here's my information, and then I sign it, Brian at Betwext, so people know who I am. Always identify yourself. Number 2, always include a call to action. There is no point in sending a text message if you don't ask someone to do something. So ask them to watch a video, click and read a link, click to call to include your phone number, come visit the store. Here's a link to a map of where the store is at. All right. You want to always have that call to action so people know when they get your message, they need to take an action. And then lastly, always include that opt-out text stop to end. It's just good business practice and it's the law. So I know we've covered a ton of stuff. We've gone really, really quick. We went through why you should text, 90% plus open rates, how easy it is to communicate either one to one, one to many. We covered what messages to send, what messages not to send. We jumped through things to look for if you get a system, like do they charge extra for keywords? Do they lock you into a long-term contract? How easy is it for you to use a short code versus a long code versus an 800 number? Are they flexible enough on that? Do you have the ability to schedule a message? Do you have the ability to send a message instantly? Do you have the ability to set up an autoresponder and lists and drip sequences? And then we jumped in and we spent some time talking about how to set up a marketing campaign over the next 8 to 10 to 12 weeks in just 10 minutes. We beat that by 2. It only took us 8 minutes to go through all that. Look, text the word learn to get these slides. I'll text you some additional information. And if you're really interested and you want to see more, click the links below. There's some great information down there. We have a sign up link. We have a way to learn more and download a free report. But check that out. There's definitely more information out there. And good luck on your mission to texting your customers and becoming a text marketing pro.